Now I have another story for you, if that's okay, all right? Okay, good. I'm glad you like stories. Now, when my mother was alive, one winter solstice, now the winter solstice is the latest, the darkest, the most darkness in all of the winter. It goes from the 21st of December to the 23rd, and it's the longest night. Now, when we came, we didn't know that. My mother came down in the morning on the 22nd, and she said, "You're not going to believe what I saw." And we said, "Well, what did you see?" She said, "I was in my room, in the corner of the castle, on my own, and I was in my bed. And all of a sudden, I looked at the window, and at the window, all of a sudden, a man came, and he was in a big, big red coat. Do you think he was carrying a sword or anything? Do you think he was scary or mean? Yeah? No? You think he was okay? Okay. Now, after she saw him, and he was as clear as you are to me, she kept looking, and she was almost hiding her head under the blanket, but it was too interesting. And the next thing that happened was a man with knickers. Knickers are not underwear. They're short pants that the men used to wear, and he had a fluffy cravat and a gray-green velvet jacket on, and his hair in a ponytail. And he was as clear as we are to each other. And he stood by the window and looked at her. Do you think maybe he had an axe? No? He wasn't going to hurt her then. Well, she didn't know. And then next, if that wasn't enough, a woman in a black cape, like me, came and appeared and looked at her. And she wasn't too happy. Now, this woman. And then the very next person that came, that she could see as clear as we are to each other, was a little girl with a dark blue dress and a white pinafore and flowing hair. And who do you think that was?
Harriet!
Yeah! And do you think she had a toy with her?
Yeah.
Maybe she had a teddy or a doll or a block. I don't know what she had. Now, my mother kept looking and wondering, what did these people want and why were they visiting her? Because she had never seen a ghost before, especially one that looked very, very real. And they just kept staring at her. Now, she laid back in her bed, and she kept watching, trying to think who these people were, but she didn't know. Then, all of a sudden, there came, surrounding her bed, 17 men in big white capes, long white capes. And you could see through them, so they were kind of spooky. And they went around her bed like this, in a circle. And again she wondered what they wanted and why they were there. Slowly, she looked to see if they had an axe or a sword or something nasty if they were going to go and kill her. But they didn't. They were friendly. They just kept going like this, in a circle. Now, after all that happened, she wondered, when they finally disappeared, she wondered what they wanted. And a few months later, we found out one was the architect who built the castle in a big red coat, because she saw a picture of him. The next man was Lord Charleville in the grey-green and the fancy cravat. And he was happy she was here to help bring people together to save the castle. And the next was Lady Emily and Harriet, who was very happy to have many, many children here so she could play again and not just be wandering around a big empty castle. And then the last people were Masons, because this was built by the Freemasons, and there were 3 grandmasters, and they believed in very magical things on the earth, and they would do ceremonies in their big white capes, and this meant a blessing that everything would be okay, and the castle would be all right, and children could come, and ghosts could roam, and people could be happy. And that's one of many stories that have happened here. I think so. I think Harriet's around. And now Mr. Benjamin will come. He's the wonderful artist who has been doing the design and teaching the children all of these arts. That I was going to hold a mirror in as this was going on so I could see what was going on, but I'll see it in video, I hope. So thank you for coming.